Akane Nishino is a famous actress who is also a high school student. Due to her fame, she was kidnapped by a fan and molested when she was in middle school. Ever since then, she plays the teacher's pet and the role of a popular girl so that no one hates her. However, on the inside, she hates everyone, particularly her classmate, Minoru Kagenou, who always calls her by the wrong name and never acknowledges her existence. Kagenou secretly desires to be a criminal mastermind, but is stuck being a background character at school. One day after school, Akane calls her driver, but he does not answer the call as he is being attacked by a group of men. He does not come to pick her up, so Akane is forced to walk home, which is her first time doing so since she was abducted in middle school. On her way home, she is kidnapped by the men that previously attacked her driver, who are planning on holding her for ransom. Just before she loses consciousness, she sees Kagenou approaching. Later, she wakes up tied in a warehouse, and her kidnappers mock her, telling her that they plan on having fun with her. Outside, Kagenou observes the kidnappers before changing his clothes and putting on a mask. He then comes down through the roof window, while announcing his name to be the stylish ruffian Slayer. During the fight, the other kidnappers see him fighting with dual crowbars, and they recognize him to be the dangerous brawler known as Balaclava Berserker. He easily defeats them all before freeing Akane, who he tells to be more careful. After escaping, Akane suspects Kagenou of being the hero that freed her, but a few days later, Kagenou is suddenly hit by a truck and dies. He is reborn as Sid Kagenou into a new world with magical powers, and he plans to use those powers to achieve his dream of controlling society as the Eminence in Shadow. To achieve this goal, he starts training in secret during the day and resumes his vigilant lifestyle by killing bandits at night. One night, he finds a cage with a living blob of rotting flesh in it and takes it home, where he is able to return it to its true form of an elven girl. Sid decides to manipulate her for fun, so he convinces her that she is called Alpha and is a descendant of ancient heroes who defeated a demon called Diabolos. He tells her that the cult of Diabolos is plotting to revive the demon, but he is working to stop the cult. The girl believes his lies and agrees to form a group called Shadow Garden to resist the cult. 3 years later, Claire, Sid's older sister, is kidnapped. Alpha, who has now recruited 6 girls to the group, finds Claire and tells Sid that she was kidnapped by the cult of Diabolos. Sid does not believe her, as he thinks that she is just playing along with his made-up story, but in reality, the cult exists, and they want Claire to be Diabolos' host body when he resurrects. Sid leads the attack on them, still thinking that he is hunting normal criminals and not actual cultists. Meanwhile, Claire escapes during the chaos, with no idea that Sid was involved. She later leaves to attend a military academy, while Alpha and the other shadows also suddenly announce they are leaving Sid to hunt the cult all over the world. Sid does not believe them, and thinks that they are just trying to break off with him without hurting his feelings. He enrolls in the same school as his sister, and befriends average students like him so that he can keep a low profile while working on his plan for world domination. After scoring badly on a test, his friends publicly humiliate him by forcing him to confess his love to Princess Alexia. Sid agrees to do the prank, thinking that the princess would be insulted by his average status. Instead, Alexia agrees to be his girlfriend, despite being engaged to the royal fencing instructor called Zenon. She has no desire to marry him, so she pays Sid to keep up the act of their fake relationship. However, Alexia is suddenly kidnapped and is taken to the dungeon of a cult scientist who chains her up before stealing her blood. He tells her that he wants to use the demon DNA in her blood for his experiment. Meanwhile, Sid is arrested as a suspect in Alexia's kidnapping and is tortured by the guards for her location. However, he does not find the interrogation intimidating, as he has trained himself to withstand pain. He instead pretends to be a pathetic teenager, and after 5 days of torture, Princess Iris, Alexia's older sister, orders his release. After he is freed, Alpha suddenly reappears and tells him that she and the other girls have continued to monitor the cult's activities. She reveals that the cult is a powerful organization called Shadow Garden, and they are the ones responsible for Alexia's disappearance. Alpha creates a plan to rescue Alexia with the help of an army she has recruited, and Sid plays along to amuse himself, as he believes that Alpha is exaggerating, and that Alexia was kidnapped by ordinary criminals, and not a cult. Meanwhile, the scientist that had kidnapped Alexia is successful in using her blood to create a monster, but once conscious, it kills him and frees Alexia from her prison. While looking for an exit, she runs into Zenon, who reveals that he had been the one to betray her to the cult in exchange for being promoted to the highest-ranking knight. Alexia attacks him, but she is no match for Zenon, who easily disarms her. But before she is killed, Sid appears and introduces himself as Shadow. Zenon recognizes him as the one that has been going after the cult, and he becomes angry to the point of charging at Sid. While they fight, the demon created by the scientist escapes from the underground lair and starts destroying the city above ground. Despite many attempts to kill it, it is unstoppable, as it easily heals after any damage is done to it. Fortunately, Alpha suddenly appears and attacks the monster. After a tough battle, she defeats the creature, and this returns it to its original human form of a young girl. Meanwhile, Sid dominates Zenon in a duel, surprising Alexia, who has no idea that it is Sid behind the disguise of the vigilant known as Shadow. Shadow continues to dominate in the fight against Zenon, and this makes Zenon desperate to win, so he swallows strength-enhancing pills that transform him into a demon. Sid responds by unleashing a magical bomb that dissolves everything within its blast radius to atoms. This kills Zenon and destroys most of the city, but Alexia is saved and the Shadow Garden cult is defeated for the time being. Thank you for watching, please like and subscribe.